All right, so welcome back into the metaverse. Today we're going to be diving into NFTs, the whole aspect of collectibles, what that might mean for the digital asset space, and really around one of the, I think, premier platforms that I think are really the future of where digital collectibles are going to be going, and that, of course, is VeVe. And with VeVe, it does represent some challenges because there's some opportunities, I think, here that are going to be interesting to explore around other tool sets, et cetera. We'll dive into that today with a special guest joining us. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Metaverse Insider. Joining me today is the CEO of a company called Vemate. This is Andrei Chejneanu, coming to us to really talk about a little bit first about Vemate, but also more importantly about the industry and what we're seeing in terms of growth. So welcome to the show, Andrei.
Hi, Paul. Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, Andrei, let's get into a little bit about Vemate itself, because many people who watch our show, they're familiar with Ecomi, the token, they're familiar with VeVe, the platform, and they kind of understand the connectivity of how digital collectibles are really being utilized for the future of how digital assets, kind of the new collector asset class, so to speak, out there, if you think of it, the modern day comic or the modern day art collectible. When you look at what you guys are trying to do with Vemate, tell me a little bit about exactly what the mission is and what are some of the key structures that you guys are trying to solve.
Well, it's first of all, I should start out by saying it's a two-stage project. We're going to have two different products. We already have one rolled out, which is the Stage 1 app available now on the Play Store and App Store.
Okay.
The Stage 1 app is a sort of a trading view, if you will, for those of you who are more familiar with crypto, but for
Yep.
VeVe NFTs. What is being shown now is great. Is part of our older design. We actually have a much better, new and improved one now. We're constantly rolling out new updates, and what it does is it does things like price alarms, low mint listing alarms, vault
Mm-hmm.
value, multiple edition, automatic importation of collectibles. This is a feature that will be rolled out soon. But just to sum it all up, what it does is it gives information to VeVe users and traders, one, about their collection, and two, about any other collectibles or comics that they may want to add to their collection. And it just gives them a tool to not have to spend a long time, scrolling through the VeVe app to find whatever they want. They can just set an alarm and forget about it, and whenever the price that they're looking for hits, they just get that alarm. It's simply just a bunch of productivity tools, because obviously I've only explained the alarm, but we have a lot more inside there packed, and we're rolling out new features constantly.
So one of the things that I have found struggling, especially in trying to track the space, is the tool sets that really help us really understand what's happening in terms of not only price movement, but also popularity. There's been a handful of tools out there that I've used, but within the collectible space, it's a little bit more difficult. Obviously, your partnership with VeVe is pretty critical, I think, in terms of growth of where digital assets will go in the future. Talk to me, first of all, about the partnership and how you guys have plugged in. What is the future of that going to look like for Vemate?
I'll start with the beginning and how we all got to where we are now with them. We initially created this app. We didn't have data from VeVe directly at first. We didn't have an API agreement with them, but we approached them, and they were very open with us. They've been great. They've been very generous as well. They were willing to engage with us. They, after having explain what we do and who we are and how we plan to do things, they were
Mm-hmm.
perfectly happy to continue talking to us. And they also entertained an API agreement initially from VeVe, so we can get the data directly from the app. And subsequently, it morphed into a partnership with Ecomi, so that we can provide access to our app following our launch, either through the OMI token or through the Vemate token. So it's
Yeah.
going to be a bit of a hybrid that way.
I think one thing that is very obvious now, especially around the NFT space, is the lack of these kinds of tools. There, and as I said earlier, there's a handful of them out there, whether it's IC Tools or WGMI. There's various ones that look at the more open sea scenario of NFTs. But once you get inside the collectibles, it becomes kind of a little bit more of an oasis. So unique that you guys are kind of going in this direction. When you look at the your roadmap, and also I want to talk about your stage two as we get into this. But when you look at the roadmap and kind of this partnership connection with VeVe, because obviously with VeVe they've opened up some APIs. We've seen some more openness of data coming from the VeVe platform itself. How far do you think this is going to go in terms of available data? Because TradingView does a really good job with looking at not only real-time data, but a lot of connectivity tools, everything from the makers' community pages, their GitHub, et cetera, all the sources that you would need to kind of research a project. You don't see that as much in the collector space. Is that something you see coming down the future?
Definitely, that's actually something that we're looking to solve, and it's something that we're looking to integrate within our app as well. So I'm sure most of you are aware that VeVe is rolling out metadata soon, which
Yeah.
is going to be huge for our app as well, because what that means is that people won't have to manually add collectibles and comics in their vault. It will just be
Hmm.
automatically imported from the blockchain. And with the existence of blockchain, because it's so transparent, and with the existence of this metadata, there will be a lot more scope for all of these tools that we were discussing and more to be
Yeah.
rolled out, plus all other types. I mean, even if in our app, we're looking to integrate news from VeVe and a means to communicate with the community directly via the app as well.
Okay, so that to me, that's going to be kind of, I think, a real life changer for maybe adoption, because that's one of the things I think for people who are getting into collectibles for the first time is there's not enough information out there, and I think people like that, kind of narrative in the sense of somewhat transparent information. You see it a little bit in the space around certain crypto projects. There's a lot of crypto projects that are out there that are anon, and that's something that I have a big problem with when I see projects that aren't open and transparent about not only the team, but also what's kind of the overall plan for them, whether it's the roadmap, the tokenomics, all those kind of things that play out into, obviously investing in this. So I appreciate the fact that you guys did that. You guys really kind of opened up, obviously resolved with the fact that you display the team, you went through an audit process. Talk to me about the leaps that you guys had to go through to do those kinds of things to really kind of create that transparency.
For us, it wasn't necessarily a leap because I'm an entrepreneur by trade, and I run two other businesses in the United Kingdom, and one of them is an IT company, which is uh, focusing on building this project at the moment. So
Mhm.
it seemed to me as a no-brainer to add a bit of a classical, if you want, a professional entrepreneur dimension to this space. And because the way our project is built will have a traditional revenue model coupled with a crypto revenue model, so it's more of a hybrid, if you will. And because of the fact that we are guided by our principles, and we want to do business in good faith and with ethics, we
Yeah.
decided to be open about it, because like you said, this lacks this kind of openness is something that the space lacks, and it needs more of it, if you ask me. And that's why we decided to have this approach to just simply show our faces, become fully doxed, KYC'd. We were even vetted,
Yeah.
and yeah, get the certic audit as well.
Well, I appreciate it because these are the things that when people approach us, to do sponsored projects and to do placements like this, typically what comes with it, and I applaud you guys, is a restriction on what we can ask. So you guys were very open and said, no, we want you guys to explore the project fully. And I appreciate that because that's something that I think the transparency, it really kind of shows the one, the validity of your project. And two, I think it shows the openness of how this market could really grow if we had more projects like this, that we're doing these kinds of things. So very good, and kudos to you guys. Let's talk about the token for a minute, because obviously you guys have a token in relationship to this. Why choose the token model as opposed to maybe just a subscription model? Because there's been some out there. WGMI, they do like an NFT thing to get access to certain sets of data. IC Tools is more of a subscription. I'm trying to use that as similars, but not really the same. But why not go that direction versus a token model?
Well, it's a bit of both worlds. So it was a matter, one, of choice, and two, of approach. We decided to one of our main ideals, and one of our main aims is to lower the entry barriers into the NFT market. And
Okay,
I believe that if we were to insert a subscription model, this would have prevented people from doing so. The way we wanted to do it is through the token, which is something that everybody can acquire. They can feel that it's their own,
right.
because as part of the stage one app, the Vmate app, the one that analyzes VeVe NFTs, all people have to do is hold either $100 in Vmate tokens in their wallets. They just have to freehold them. There's no staking involved, or
Hmm.
$200 in Omi tokens.
Yeah,
And this is at the point of validation, because obviously the value can fluctuate, but it doesn't matter as long as they hold the same number of tokens in their wallet that
gotcha.
they did at the
Okay.
time of validation. Yeah.
Now, will the app itself hold the VMT token and the OMI tokens? Is it like a wallet? How does that work within VMate itself, or does it just
Uh,
register it? How does that show up?
it just register it. So the app will
Okay.
not be a wallet. The tokens will be in everybody's wallets, and that's where they'll stay.
How do you see? I'm looking at the concept because within some of your roadmap, fractionalized NFTs is something that you guys are working on. How do you see this potentially looking at the scenario of facing regulation? We have seen and anticipate that we're going to see regulation on the NFT space. Now you get into potentially fractionalized NFTs. How do you think that will play out from a regulatory standpoint?
Well, we already have a bit of a template from the crypto regulatory environment, so we know, we
Hmm.
kind of have an inkling of which direction it's going to go into. So our approach and our model will be to apply a sort of approach and rationale to the NFT world as what one would expect from the crypto world. So there will be utility for those NFTs. There will be utility for the tokens, for the fractions of NFTs as well. There will be a whole ecosystem being created by the artist within that space when they fractionalize an NFT or a collection of NFTs, if you will.
Yeah, I think that's and you're right. I think the point is there is somewhat of a precedence being set right now within the industry. It's going to be interesting to watch, though, how regulators will really kind of approach the side of where NFTs and digital assets in general, obviously collectibles will fall into that. When you look at kind of the area of within the app tool itself, I want to talk about a couple of things. As far as being able to like input a buy price and be able to track profitability, would that be something that you could do within the app now or in the app soon?
It will be something that people will be able to do in the app by mid next week. We're actually rolling out
Oh, wow.
two
Okay.
major functionalities this week. We've been updating it. The lowest we've been updating it is once every 2 weeks. The highest frequency we've been updating at was twice a week. So because we have such
Right.
a big team working on it, we're always constantly improving it, and we're getting feedback from the community for that as well.
When you say big team, what's the size of that team that you guys are working with?
Well, I do say big team, but it may not be perceived as such. So we have 32 core members of staff, plus give or take
That's a lot.
15, plus give or take 15 subcontractors. This
Oh,
is in the
okay.
development side of, yeah.
That's good because that to me is a serious team. You guys are putting some real money behind the development process. So, and typically when you see that, especially with somebody that's got tech savviness and experience, you end up with usually a good product. So, I'm hoping this is going to be a good, because I think VeVe has such a great opportunity and potential. But at the same time, and we've had the VeVe team on our show here, and I see just so much opportunity for where they're growing and how they're going to get there. The roadmap is often a little bit hazy, because there's just so many things. You can only handle, so many potential development opportunities, which also kind of puts me in, because you look at the tech industry, kind of the same thing. Doesn't matter what kind of tech you look at, if it's Web 2 tech or Web 3 tech, there's always a list of features that are much greater than the abilities of the developers that can kind of get to those features. So I completely get that. When you look at VeVe, though, why would they not maybe do something like this? Now, granted, it would be a stretch to add that to their, development list, but would this be something down the road that you think VeVe could ever do, or do you feel like this will always be more of the partners out there kind of adding to the ecosystem?
Well, I'm not going to be able to obviously know with 100% certainty what they will do in that sense, but in terms of them being able to do it, I think if they wanted to, they probably could. But now that we are, in the picture, if you will, I think there may be a possibility of them going down the road of us, being partners
That's great.
on in this realm. And again, this is just my opinion. They may well be able to insert that, but you have to bear in mind that the VeVe app is extremely secure. So
Right.
you, in technical terms, it would be quite challenging for you to also do secure the app and do everything that you do, and also add this without slowing it down significantly. So you
Yeah.
kind of have to do some trade-offs in that sense.
Well, I think there are bigger picture items that need to be addressed, obviously, from VeVe, and some of them have been addressed, obviously, with the VMT Token integration. Some of the things that we've already started to see in terms of valuation and being able to cash out, all those kind of feature sets, along with just the economy side of where VeVe and OMI are kind of pairing. I would agree with you. I think there's a lot bigger, projects out there for them. When you look at the potential for the marketplace, will you guys ever expand outside the VeVe ecosystem, going into more, mainstream NFTs? What's the plan?
So the stage one app, we plan for it to be VV related forever and in perpetuity, and we plan to never introduce any charges apart, from them having to hold the token.
Hmm.
The plan is for the second stage NFT marketplace slash exchange. That's going to be an open market rather than a
Okay.
closed one. So that in that sense, it will have data from all over the place. It will go in every single direction. Obviously, not into closed markets such as VV, but in various other open markets.
There's been a few projects out there that have reached out to us over the years in terms of creating some sort of validity or ranking system around the crypto side of things. Now, from the NFT side of things, to my knowledge, there hasn't been anything out there that really dives into like the quality of an NFT. Like if you look at, some people have taken a look at the smart contract quality as a good example from the traditional crypto side of things, and they give it a rating. This has a rating score of 90. Would that be a possibility within the NFT with certain parameters being met, looking at historical access, flow of the NFT transactions themselves, kind of doing audits within them to make sure there's no shenanigans going on with pumping prices? Do you guys have a plan for anything like a rating system?
We do indeed, actually. It's going to be comprehensive in that sense. So, our plan for this platform, and when I say plan, I don't mean it's just on paper because we finished 40% of it so far,
Mm,
but it
okay.
will have four modules in total. One will be an informational module, if you will. I can give you an analogy or a comparison that would be coin market cap. The
Yep.
other would be an analysis module, which would be a sort of a trading view for it, where you'll
Hmm.
have things, key performance indicators and various other indices that will be calculated based on algorithms, which some people have already started rolling out because there are some pretty good tooling NFT projects out there. Some of them have been completed, others are in development as we speak. So the market has started to grow in that sense. But
Yeah.
And with regards to the audit and identifying if there aren't any shenanigans or things like that, so that's something that you will find in the app, indeed.
That's
And
good because I think that's going to be needed in the space very quickly as people really start to migrate to, especially as you mainstream the collectible. If you look at the size of the collectible market outside of what's happening in the digital space, it's massive. So usually the authenticity is kind of the verification process within, real world collectibles. That's been a hardened, proven process that kind of secures that this is a good quality collectible. There's market delivery, all that good stuff. So definitely going there. Thoughts on AI to possibly determine value of NFTs in the future? Do you think that might be something that's coming?
we certainly hope so. We're going to use big data analysis to determine, and AI obviously, to determine a plagiarism and to try to reduce that within the app. So a lot of the large NFT open marketplaces right now have massive issues with plagiarism, for instance.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of work a little bit and find the golden ratio of how much plagiarism you can allow while
Hmm.
not stifling original creation, but also not allowing, spin-offs, rip-offs, and so on and so forth.
Exactly.
So,
Totally.
yeah.
No, I do agree with you there. Last couple of questions here is more about the space in general and kind of the future of where collectibles will be going. When you look at some of the other projects that are out there, because we're looking a lot of different variations that are flowing into what I think are good quality NFTs in other applications. I'll just use Socios and what Chili's is doing around fan tokens for sports teams, motorsports, soccer, all that kind of thing. Do you feel that that market is going to continue to expand like that, or do you think there are some limited parameters in which NFTs can be used?
Well, my view is that the market does have scope for expansion, but it's not unlimited in terms of some of these markets that is going
Yeah.
into right now, which is why we've come up with the idea of fractionalizing and into hundreds of millions of fractions and allowing it to be traded. NFTs will be redeemed from the vault. The liquidity within that project will grow, and it will determine the value of all the NFTs that have been redeemed, and it will be like
Hmm.
a self-reinforcing system in that sense. And then people will be able to own fractional NFTs in that sense. If they own, let's say, 1 million tokens of that fractional NFT, they can then redeem one from the vault that they were locked in, and then they
Yeah.
can trade it on the open market. So in that sense, we were looking to overcome that limitation by introducing this fractional NFT trading, because it lowers the threshold of entrance into the NFT market by crypto users. And if you look at the differences between market sizes, if you look at open markets, the major blockchains, you're looking 2-3 million owners, around that mark. Whereas if you're looking at the crypto market, you have 300 million. So what we were looking to do is becoming that bridge between 300 million crypto users and 2 to 3 million NFT traders slash holders, and we
Yeah.
try to bring them together through this fractionalization and tokenization of the fractions.
Yeah, I think this is first of all because we use so many tools like this. Our own Power Index, which is more of a rating system through social. It looks at mostly sentiment data and really which drives down into price action. But we use a ton of connectivities into TradingView. Obviously, everything from CoinMarketCap, which and any tool out there that we can. So we're definitely going to be watching Vmate very closely because I think the collectible side is going to be a big part of where this future goes. But Andrei, it's been great having you on the show today. Thank you so much for stopping in. We appreciate it.
It's been great being here. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, so you guys are tuned in over on the podcast side of things right now. Make sure and jump over here to the YouTube channel. This is where we catch all of these insider tool sets like what you're seeing today with Vmate, but many others that really showcase on the channel here. I know there's a lot of people of you guys that reach out to us. We don't necessarily bring too many sponsors on the show, but when we do, the number one thing we always ask for is they have to let us ask questions and really drill down into what's happening within your products and services. So if you are looking at that, just reach out to us at the partners link below. And if you're not part of our Diamond Circle, make sure and jump in, because it is where we do everything, including additional premium content, absolutely free. All you have to do is join. It's just that simple. Just click the link below. You'll catch a couple of emails a week. It'll keep you updated. And every so often, more and more now that we've got more team, is we're dropping new price analysis as well as opinion within the Diamond Circle that does not make it over here to YouTube. So if you guys want to reach me out there on Twitter, it's @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on Metaverse Insider.